If you're ever forced to spend a prolonged period of time in your apartment, either in lockdown or quarantine, or you ever have to in the future, you'll quickly realize that while you can, technically, survive on your cupboard, stored foods, dehydrated foods, beans and rice, nothing beats fresh vegetables and plants for their essential nutrition and their psychological boost. So much prepper information is out there about high protein, high starch, calorically dense food you should have in your supplies, and there's plenty of information about starting your micro farm if you're fortunate enough to have a sliver or parcel of land. If you're prepping in an apartment environment, you shouldn't just be prepping to bug out. That may not be an option all the time. You need to prepare for bugging in, and that means to survive an extended bug in, you'll need to grow enough rich plant foods to help you survive an extended period indoors. Please consider subscribing to our newsletter to give you updates and membership-specific content. Visit cityprepping.com/newsletter or click on the link in the description section and comment section below to subscribe today. Enjoy the video. In a previous video, I covered the essential elements of an apartment microfarm, and I received so many questions seeking more specifics about what specifically to grow. There's a lot of information out there, but much of it really isn't practical for the urban prepper. In this video, we'll look at the essentials for the urban prepping gardener, why we chose the 25 plants we're recommending here, and then a list of the 25 plants we suggest you grow and why we chose them. At the end, I'll give you a tip for pollinating your plants, since some plants will need this to produce fruit, and I'm assuming you probably don't have a beehive in your house. So let's get to it. Number 1, spaces, light, water, and air. In my earlier video, I go more in depth into the 3 essential elements your plants need: space, light, water, and air. Check that video out for a deeper dive, and I'll post a link in the cards above. But a quick summary of each of these is: first, you need to assess your growing spaces. Windowsills, porches, counter space, vertical planting on walls and windows, and even grow tents are all options. It is possible to place LED grow lights under a kitchen cabinet and convert counter space into your growing area. Be creative, but assess the amount of space, light, and air your grow spaces have to understand how you might need to supplement. Second, light. If you have a full sun balcony, you're in great shape, but that's not typically the setup of an urban apartment. Fortunately, grow lights have dropped from hundreds of dollars to under $100, with many options under $20. Light supplementation will take a sallow plant to a high-producing, thriving plant. LED grow light strips are easy to use and install under cabinets, and grow light bulbs are under $10. Will easily convert any old table lamp to your plant's best friend. Long exposure to UV light can be dangerous, but your typical small wattage bulbs like these are low heat and a very low dose of the UVC wavelength. They can often be used in conjunction with a timer, so you can run them when you're away or not in the room. If you have them come on at night, place your cell phone and money in a tray near to the light for an easy way to sanitize them while you sleep. I'll put a link to several options for these lights in the comments section below. The third essential is water. You don't want to water your plants over hydrating yourself, but remember that plants can use water that is unfit for you to drink. Any balcony rainwater collection system is highly encouraged. Collecting water from your shower and using it to water your plants is another effective way to keep your plants watered properly. Plants in direct sunlight will need more water, and many plants will welcome a mister from time to time. Know which ones though. You should avoid getting the leaves of tomatoes or squash wet, as this can easily result in powdery mildew, especially in areas that don't have direct sunlight. I have found that one of the keys to a decent garden is to water on a schedule and consistently. Forgetting or skipping the schedule can cause a plant to stress and will decrease your harvest. The fourth essential element is air. Don't forget that your plants are breathing in carbon dioxide through the stomata plant cells in their leaves. A plant can easily absorb all the available CO2 around it in about an hour. That's great for you because it's putting out oxygen in your environment, but you need to make sure that your plants are getting enough oxygen. Even a simple USB fan circulating air is enough to allow your plants to breathe. Space, light, water, and air. You need all 4 for a successful indoor apartment microfarm. If your plants aren't doing well, you're probably missing one of those vital elements. A final thought on this: to truly be prepared, you should consider how you will supplement these vital elements in a grid down situation. I already mentioned collecting rainwater, but consider some type of small portable solar panel sufficient enough to run some low wattage LED grow lights. This will create a more self-sufficient independence for your grow space. Number 2, what to grow and why we choose what we chose. The American diet is horribly dependent upon the big 3, corn, soy, and wheat. In fact, our dependence on these big three foods is at the expense of our health. Many people are coming down with allergies to soy and wheat, and alone they don't have enough of the nutrients we need to stay healthy. Go into any grocery store and outside the periphery of the meats, dairy, and vegetable sections, it's mainly foods that are heavily processed: corn, wheat, or soy. We've moved away from eating the abundance of foods that easily grow and require very little processing before finding their way onto our plates. Don't even think about growing corn in your apartment garden. While you can easily do it, I think for the space it takes versus the yield, it really isn't worth it. That being said, having the seeds in your supplies is a good thing. So much of prepping, as I mentioned earlier, focuses on high protein, high starch, calorically dense food, and these are important. However, your apartment garden plants should focus on nutritional density, medicinal and psychological fortification, and minerals and vitamins. While your beans, rice, and pasta can provide the bulk of your proteins and starches, your plants can fill in all the gaps to make you not only survive, but thrive. So, the plants we chose here may not be the things you find in your large grocery store. It may not be the plants you ever thought you could eat. The plants in the list were chosen because of some combination of ease to grow, nutrition density, or their medicinal profile, or their effects on our physiology. For each plant, I will emphasize one of these aspects. Number 3, the list and why. So here are the 25 plants for your prepper apartment survival guide. They are in no particular ranking order because what you choose to grow is going to depend heavily upon your growing space and what you need to supplement your stored foods. Number 1, sprouts. Whether alfalfa, mung bean, clover, or broccoli. Sprouts are not only easy, but they typically produce a 7-to-1 ratio. One large mason jar full of seeds stored in your supplies can potentially produce 950 grams of fat, 3,230 grams of protein, and the same amount of fiber. As they only require water and a windowsill's worth of light and can easily be stored in dried seed form, sprouts can be an amazing survival food. Sprouts and microgreen sprouting have become very popular, so there's an abundance of products and writing on the subject. The key with sprouts is that you can harvest nutrient-dense foods in around a week. Most plants you will have to wait over 60 days before you can harvest. This makes sprouts a good emergency food as well. They're easy, nutrient-dense, and with such a balanced high protein and fiber profile, you could survive on sprouts for a long period of time. When you rinse your sprouts, reserve the water for your other plants. Number 2, tomatoes. With over 10,000 known cultivators of tomatoes, you're almost guaranteed that there is one that will thrive in your apartment garden. From the pea-sized currant tomato to cherry to styles specifically meant for small porch pots, a handful of tomatoes can provide you with essential calcium, potassium, vitamin C, and almost 1,500 IUs of vitamin A. You can grow varieties in windowsills, small pots, and even as a hanging plant. Even if you don't grow them, having them in dried form in your food stores is a good idea. They can easily be hydrated or powdered and added to your foods. They retain their nutrient better than most plants. Number 3, chives. I'll cover several herbs, but the chive definitely stands out as a powerhouse in your home garden. It's essentially a grass-type plant, so it grows really well once you get it in the right 4 elements. Chives are a nutrient-dense food. This means they're low in calories but high in beneficial nutrients including vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. The CDC gives it a nutrient density score of 54.8. That's an indicator of the bioavailability of the vitamins and minerals, their density and amounts. That's also higher than a lemon, sweet potato, tomato, and even a pumpkin. In addition to giving a mild onion flavor, it can easily be dried, stored, and powdered right over your food. Like the tomato, chives will retain their nutritional profile. It's one of the best and easiest herbs to grow. Number 4, parsley. The only other herb I'll mention here, though there are many more, is parsley. Parsley is very easy to grow and has a nutrient density of 65.59. It's loaded with iron, A, C, and K vitamins. It's so easy to grow and can easily be harvested and dried for later use that it earns a spot on the list. Number 5, scallions. If you don't throw out the bottom inch or 2 of your store-bought green onions, you can easily regrow them to full length in a coffee cup of water. To think you've wasted all that money buying them when you could have easily grown them on your windowsill. The CDC gives it a nutrient density score of 27.83. Garlic. If left too long on the counter, that clove of garlic will probably begin to sprout. That's how badly this plant wants to grow. That's how easily it grows. Put that clove in a little water for a few days and transfer it to a small pot of dirt, and you can harvest the green tops and flowers for consumption and a brand new head of garlic at the end of your growth season. While you don't eat tons of garlic nor survive solely on garlic, It does have a really good profile of amino acids, minerals, and nutrients. It can also help fortify your physiology and has strong antimicrobial properties. Number 7, lettuce. Don't throw out that bottom 2 inches of your romaine lettuce head. Like the green onions, you can regrow this easily in your windowsill with some water. Transplant it to a small pot and grow it even bigger. Lettuce has a reputation for being a filler that provides little nutrient value, but that's actually a myth. Leaf lettuce actually has a CDC nutrient density of 70.73. It contains a decent amount of vitamin A and potassium. Its nutritional value and ease of growing scores it a place on the list. Number 8, watercress. Now this one's a bit more challenging to grow because it's essentially an aquatic plant. If you have an aquarium you're not using, this plant will grow easily. It will grow in well-hydrated soil as well and doesn't require a lot of direct sunlight. The main reason to grow it is that the CDC nutrient density score for it is 100. That's a powerhouse of vitamins and nutrients that your body can easily access. Number 9, porcelain. If you've never heard of it, I wouldn't be surprised. Porcelain is a leafy vegetable that most likely originated in the Mediterranean region. It is widely eaten throughout Europe, Asia, and Middle East and Africa. It is an annual succulent with a highly sour and salty taste, making it an interesting addition to your plate and palate. It mainly grows as a weed in the American yard, which means you can forage for it in areas you know aren't sprayed with weed killers or pesticides. In traditional Chinese medicine, this plant was widely used to treat everything from diarrhea and intestinal bleeding to hemorrhoids and dysentery. It's loaded with omega-3 fatty acids and vitamins A and C. Porcelain likes a lot of sun. Number 10, strawberries. Strawberries don't have a great nutrient density score, but they have a decent amount of vitamin C, manganese, and folate. They're also easy to grow in a pot or flat. They can provide you needed sugars, and they love water and direct sun, but they can grow in a variety of environments. You can eat them fresh or dry them to save for later, as they retain their nutrition when dried and can easily be hydrated. Number 11, beans. I know you have those dried pinto beans in your supplies. If you run low, however, you can grow more by sprouting them. It is one of the oldest cultivated plants, and there's a reason for this. It grows easily and will thrive when trellised on just one patio wall. The protein and carbohydrate properties of beans makes it another food you can easily survive on. There are so many varieties that I will only mention a few that you can easily grow, starting with a soybean. Put a few soybeans in soil with water and light, and you're on your way. They grow amazingly well and can give you a wall of green leaves. After you harvest the beans and throughout the plant's life, you can also eat the leaves. With any leaf from any plant you're planning to eat, check multiple sources to make sure it is edible. Some leaves of some plants contain toxins that can cause nausea, paralysis, even death, though the plant's fruit is just fine to eat. Number 12, green beans. This is another great plant. Green beans are the unripe young fruit and protected pods of various cultivars of the common bean. The leaves are fully edible as well. They grow very well and can give you a wall of shade. There are a number of varieties, so you have many to choose from. Number 13, lentils. Much of the world would starve were it not for the lentil, but you would be surprised how few people eat them in America. Lentils are a significant source of protein, dietary fiber, carbohydrates, and dietary minerals. Mature plants will grow well when trellised, and you can harvest them in about 80 days from planting. Number 14, peas. Peas have a mention in this category. They're easy to grow and solid producers. This family of plants is definitely a choice for your micro apartment garden, but there are really too many options to list. Hopefully the ones I've listed will help you decide what's right for your space. So as not to create a video that's too long and too large of size, I've created a part 2 video which contains 15 through 25, along with my tip for a bigger harvest at the end. You can get to that video by just clicking on the link below and in the cards above. As always, please stay safe out there.